Hello, my name is Terrell from Purdue University's Earth, Atmospheric, and Planetary Science Department. I'll be giving this presentation on how the U.S. Navy utilizes radar resources to its meteorological advantages. I chose this presentation because, one, I'm active duty Navy, and I've been all across the world on different surface ships, and I've been having to utilize my radars to manipulate them in order to navigate through or around thunderstorms and heavy precipitation. Not only just precipitation, but dust, debris, dust storms, fog, anything that restricts my visibility with the meteorological purpose and also with just regular atmospheric conditions. So I learned the objectives. First, I want to identify the shore-based and ship-based DoD and Navy radars, explain why ships are not equipped with standalone weather radars, explain the importance of software versus hardware upgrades, explain the advantages and disadvantages of shipboard radars, explain the importance of adjusting the radar, and then I'm going to list out some different weather warnings and reports. So weather radars provide military and ships with a heads-up warning. Since the invention of radars, the United States military has been using them to their advantage. Accurate and timely meteorological forecasts and analysis help meet the tactical mission. The National Weather Service first weather radars were actually Navy radars that were modified for meteorological use. What they did was they added a traveling wave tube assembly, which were major assets for tracking hurricanes. Standalone weather radars are not equipped on large Navy vessels. Relying on organic and inorganic services such as software upgrades, modifications to existing radars, NOAA, NMOC, which is U.S. Naval Meteorology and Oceanography Command, who provides critical information from the ocean depths to the most distant reaches of space, meeting the needs of military, scientific, and civilian communities. And the National Weather Service is critical for the survivability and safety at sea. DoD and Navy radars. Originally, the WSR-57 was used to minimize the effect of attenuation on rainfalls. The Navy ordered 8 WSR-57 once the design was completed and added them to its nomenclature. According to NOAA's National Weather Service Radar Operations Center map, there are 25 DoD WSR-88Ds located throughout the U.S., Guam, and Japan. The primary purpose of this radar is to provide the National Weather Service, the Federal Aviation Administration, and the Department of Defense with the capability to issue timely warnings of impending weather hazards, as well as estimate precipitation and provide capability for short-term forecasting, according to Robert Nesbitt, 2018. The U.S. Navy itself does not have the luxury of its own weather radars. The various radars installed aboard ships consist of air search and surface search radars. Different types of air search radars consist of the SPY-1 and the SPS-48. Surface search radars consist of the SPS-55, SPS-64, SPS-67, and SPS-73. On the right-hand side, you have an image of the 4 different types of surface search radars. The top left image is the SPS-73, the top right is the SPS-64, the bottom left is the SPS-67, and the bottom right is the SPS-55 radar. All of these radars are located on the mast of the ship. On the left-hand side, you have the different Navy shipboard air search radars. On the left-hand side at the top, you have the SPY-1 Delta array, which is circled in blue. There are 4 arrays, each located on the corner of the destroyer vessels, which provide overlapping 360-degree coverage. On the bottom left, you have the SPS-48 radar, which is located on your large vessels, such as aircraft carriers and amphibious assault ships. They have a 360-degree rotation as well that provides the 360-degree coverage. So why not just install a weather radar? Ships are not equipped with standalone weather radars. The mast and topside decks are already crowded, so putting them on there or adding them to the existing radars will just take up valuable space on board the ships. There are many air search and surface search radars that provide meteorological support. Existing radars are still capable of providing this support with the incorporation of software and minor hardware upgrades. Software upgrades tend to be cheaper and easier to incorporate, while hardware upgrades require overhauls, cutting into the ship, lengthy installations, and also testing phases, which require money. Some advantages and disadvantages. Advantages of using existing radars include not taking away from the primary mission of the radar. Software upgrades are more cost-effective than hardware upgrades, and backfitting existing radars with meteorological software to include through the sensor TTS capabilities, which allows the radar to advantageously provide weather data without limiting the sensor's primary mission purpose. The TTS capability is a bonus feature and is essential to the mission of the radar, but only as an alternative means. Also, the hazardous weather detection and display capability, which is known as a HWDDC. This weather radar processor and web display server that passively taps into the volume scan data on board aircraft carriers and large deck amphibious ships. It was first successfully tested at a facility in Dam Neck, Virginia, and then later installed on board a surface ship for at-sea testing. Commanding officers can use this real-time features to navigate around storm cells during underway replenishments, flight quarters, and also any operations that require sailors to remain topside for safety purposes. Some disadvantages include weather capabilities will serve as a secondary or tertiary purpose. So the primary purpose will never be there for weather radars. There will always be a backup to the existing radar. Upgrading also means more money for the installation and services. So you have to have contractors come on board to install the software, whether wiring or just inserting softwares into the existing systems, and then having to test those weather capabilities at sea. Training personnel on the uses and maintenance as well is also a disadvantage because sometimes personnel will have to be sent off ship to other facilities for testing and training, which requires a lot of money to send personnel just to be trained on this upgrade or additional software. Some vital adjustments. It's important that the user knows how to adjust the radar. As a surface warfare officer myself, I've had the pleasure of working with these radars hand-on and being trained in different schools before I got to a ship, and as I was on the ship, to actually train other personnel on how to manipulate the radar for weather features. Since weather is not the primary mission, they must be manipulated and fine-tuned to support the meteorological purpose. So adjusting settings such as the fast time control, which is used to declutter atmospheric conditions, the sensitivity time control, which is used to declutter heavy sea conditions, and also the gain control, which controls the amount of radar noise produced by the display. On the left-hand side, you have 3 images from a shipboard surface search radar. To the untrained eye, these images may just look like crappy or not much, but to mariners and skilled personnel on the ocean, they know exactly what they're looking at. So with the top left image, the gain setting is actually too high. Having the gain setting too high bogs down your radar picture. And when it bogs down your radar picture, you're not able to see any existing contacts that may be underneath the heavy precipitation or low base cloud bank in the area. In the middle, you have the gain setting, which is actually adjusted too low. And when you adjust the gain setting too low, you actually cut out some of the contacts that could be actual contacts out there in the ocean. Now, if you have heavy precipitation and your visibility is severely restricted, if you cut these contacts out and now you're not able to see them visually by your eye or by radar, then you can be in imminent danger of colliding with another vessel. The bottom left images is of the gain setting when it's actually adjusted correctly. So here you have each range ring is 2 nautical miles with a total of 6 nautical miles. So as you can see, most of the precipitation at the bottom left is in the 2 nautical mile range ring within your vessel, which is located in the center. And you have multiple contacts around that you are still able to track via your radar without cutting those contacts out. Weather warnings and reports. So ships and aircraft are vulnerable when it comes to severe weather. It's imperative that the latest information regarding heavy winds, heavy seas, tropical storms, and typhoon information be sent out early enough to mitigate mission failure. The Navy's meteorology and oceanography METOC officers are trained and equipped with the knowledge and tools to provide storm advisory, warnings, weather avoidance, and OTSRs. METOC officers are only located on large vessels, so many of the vessels inside of the strike group or the battle group would not have a METOC officer on board. This METOC officer will disseminate the information to all ships, whether it's via naval message or through official secret side access only for personnel that need to know. Ships also have access to the Navy Oceanography Portal. This portal provides daily updates on forecasts, warnings, advisories, outlooks on tropical storms, METAR and buoy observations, National Weather Service links, and other points of contact for additional information. The Fleet Numerical Meteorology and Oceanography Center provides the highest quality meteorology and oceanography support for the Navy. They provide global and regional weather and wave prediction charts, ensemble forecast charts, ensemble verification metrics, and deterministic and tropical verification metrics. Other services that provide warnings and advisories is the Joint Typhoon Warning Center, the Fleet Weather Center in Norfolk, the Fleet Weather Center in San Diego, and the Navy Oceanographic Office. So in summary, install software and upgrades on surface search and air search radars, as well as support from outside sources allow radars to be used to the Navy's meteorological advantage. The Navy has been navigating for decades without the use of organic weather radars. With integration of weather capabilities readily available, more safe navigational practices can continue. There are no future discussions regarding equipping radars, or equipping ships with standalone weather radars. Surface search and air search radars are already installed on every large vessel, so it's easier to incorporate that weather software into those existing radar systems, and they have been proven to be reliable, dependable, and even more capable of delivering successful products. With both organic and inorganic assets creating the weather picture, forecasting and providing mitigation measures to keep the fleet and sailors safe, the mission will continue to get accomplished. I would like to take this time to offer you a quick 3-question quiz. The information is below, so please log in with the direct code, or you can just go to www.menti.com and enter the code 137232. To see your correct answer, please click on See Voting Results at the end, and you will receive an email. Once you receive an email, just click on the link, and you'll be able to have access to the answers. Thank you.